So, for the first time ever, I tried sardines at the age of about 32, and I would say they're healthier than salmon. If you're looking to get fish, sardines have to be the go-to. Now, I actually kind of like both, but I introduced myself to sardines by eating well, not right from the can, but basically going with the one with the bones and the flesh and the skin and all that. And basically just had the heads cut off and everything in the can. Threw it in with some salad, and that's pretty much it. So, but you can get like sardines with tomato sauce, sardines with olive oil, sardines with black beans, sardines with olives. There's so many different variations. But I just went with sardines with water, and I'm a fan. It's like this meaty texture, and you don't even know that the bones are there because it's all like cooked and canned. I don't get how the canning process works and how you can cook something and put it in a can and then it's good for 3 years. It's like crazy how that works. But I would say in terms of protein, you get a lot in the sardines. I mean, it's a pretty substantial amount of protein, so that's a good source of that. Calcium, it's pretty on par with salmon. I mean, protein, calcium, is a B12s. It's like fairly on par. There's a few different minerals that you might get more of with the sardines, and then the salmon might have some more of another type of mineral. There's different little variations. I think switching it up is good, but I came across sardines from watching a bunch of these like doctor videos. So I'm interested in looking how I can eat healthier and healthier. And this doctor recommended, sardines as like one of the top fish to eat. And I'm thinking, I've never tried sardines before. So I went, got a can, and I was pleasantly surprised. The thing is, mercury poisoning, I guess, is something that people are conscious of, right? And heavy metal poisoning and all of this. And people don't want to get cancer, of course. And salmon has slightly more of it, of the mercury, than the sardines. Sardines are like bottom feeders. Like they're on the bottom of the food chain. So, like, they just eat basic things, whereas salmon is more, they consume more variety, so there's a greater chance of the mercury poisoning going in there. Of course, wild, if you can get wild, that's the way to go. I've heard so much about farming of fish, and it's just not the way to go. Have all these fish and tanks and whatnot, and a very enclosed area, and farming is not exactly the way to go for fish. Some people may agree or disagree. Throw your comments around. If you like salmon more than sardines, or maybe you like sardines more than salmon, I'd like to hear your thoughts. But I was pleasantly surprised. I think you definitely have to go for the varieties of fish where you've got like the skin and the bones, because then you're actually getting the benefits. And I mean, if you're going to tolerate this fishy taste, having bones in there, it's pretty minor. Then I tried pink salmon for probably the first time ever. And it's not something that I usually get. I've tried like sockeye and farmed salmon, so I've introduced myself to that. And I thought the pink salmon was pretty good. It's a little fishier than sardines. But again, I had a can of the pink salmon with like the skin, and there were bones. The bones you can notice a little bit more crunch. But like I said, you throw it in with a salad, or like carrots and broccoli and spinach or kale, then you really don't notice it too much as you're crunching along. There's just slight There's a slight thing there. But yeah, salmon versus sardines, you know what? I'm a fan of the sardines. I think I could buy that again. And then I read this article about this millionaire investor, financial investor guy, and he eats 5 cans of sardines a day. It's crazy. 5 cans of sardines a day. And, like, I don't know how he does it, but he attributes this diet of the 5 sardines, the 5 cans of sardines, he attributes his fish diet for his successes. And I mean, look, everyone's got different diets and whatnot. Like Jeff Bezos eats octopus, so like people have different variations. But I'm fascinated by that. I think in terms of like brain health, sardines are good. You get the omega-3s as well. Like it's a big boost of omega-3s. You get the B12s and then the vitamin D. It's like some really significant vitamins that you're getting. And like I got this can, so I'm in Canada, but I got this can of sardines. It was like $1.78. It wasn't even on sale. And I'm like, this is substantial protein, $1.78 for some substantial protein, Canadian. And I mean, there's deals where you can get like a can for $1.20 and stuff like that, or get it in bulk and you get it even cheaper. But I'm like, hey, these protein powders that are out there, like it costs at least $1 plus for a scoop of protein powder, and it's not as satiating as like salmon or sardines with some significant protein. And actually the pricing for salmon is fairly similar with sardines. They're pretty much on par. But I think in terms of health, like, you know, you can get like 2 servings of fish per week. That's pretty good. And even if you had the wild salmon, like 8 ounces in a day, I mean, the FDA has so many different studies, and I'm not like an expert on this, but they say you can have like 13 ounces and you're still below the recommended mercury limit. So honestly, you could probably have a lot of salmon in a day and you'd still be fine. I mean, 13 ounces is a lot. So typically a can might be 5 to 6 ounces, maybe more, the standard can of salmon. So you're usually under that amount, but I'd still probably not have it every day. But I think sardines you could get away with having quite often. I mean, if this guy is eating 5 cans a day, he's not having any issues, then, I mean, there you go. I'd be interested to see his blood work, though, because he might have some heavy metals in his blood. Like, he might have an increase in heavy metals. That's why, yeah, I probably wouldn't go too overboard. But I think the pros outweigh the cons, right? And maybe you're looking to add protein into your diet. It's like fish is the most sustainable way outside of powders and stuff. It's something that I would go for instead of drinking protein powder all the time. But I'm a fan. I think I might alternate. Salmon, sardines, salmon, sardines, salmon, sardines. Probably have more sardines than salmon. But in terms of this versus like, and then if you throw in like compared to chicken, I mean, unless you get like grass-fed chicken, I think the wild fish is the way to go. But the problem with the chicken is it's pretty expensive, and it's substantial amounts of meat that you're paying for, and you might not need to eat that much. I mean, if you say you get like 1 chicken breast fillet, that is like maybe 25 to 35 grams of protein, and you know that's your dinner, and about 17 to 19 grams in a can of sardines or salmon. Like, And actually, a can of salmon that has there's like 200 grams salmon. I mean, you could get even more protein from that than what a chicken has. I just think there's more nutrients as well in the fish. So I don't eat chicken or beef too often in the household, so fish seems to be the way to go. Yeah, I might increase that. I also notice there's more energy, like when I eat like sardines or salmon, I have more energy the next day. Like there's definitely a benefit to it. So I mean, even though this is like a versus comparison, I would say, like, if you could choose, alternate, like maybe do a lot more sardines and then have salmon like once or twice a week, or just go sardines all the way, or maybe you're a salmon guy or girl, then go for that. But just with the salmon, be conscious of the mercury. I don't think it's too big of an issue. It's only when you run into like tuna. I was eating white tuna quite often and found out that has some heavy mercury content, so cut that out. And if you're gonna go with tuna, then maybe you want to go light tuna. Again, if you're moderating what you're eating, I don't think it's too much of a concern in terms of mercury and all that, but for the health conscious, something to consider. But ranking it, I gotta go sardines, salmon, tuna, and then, I mean, my all-time favorites are definitely like chicken and beef, but I know there's just no sustainability around that in terms of cost. You've got cost with that, and then you've got like a lack of benefits. There's certain things that you get in the fish that you just don't get in the regular meats. So I figure, well, I might as well just eat fish. But yeah, just in this video in comparison, sardines, salmon. But I'd love to know what your go-to is. What kind of meat do you go for? Let me know in the comments. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Till next time. Bye.